and welcome to the Oral Apothecary Podcast, authentic chat about medicines, pharmacy and healthcare in the UK.
Pharmacists Jamie, Gimmo and STC take on topical and controversial stories, but keep it edgy yet light-hearted.
Podcasts share their desert island drugs and joyful patient stories.
Welcome, this is the Oral Apothecary Podcast. My name is Jamie Hayes. Coming up in this week's episode, we're joined by Jill Cruikshank. Jill is a community pharmacist, coach, trainer and speaker from Edinburgh. We will hear more from Jill in a moment as she shares her desert island drug, a career anthem, and recommends a book for the Oral Apothecary Library. Our micro-discussion this week will look at medication incidents in a community pharmacy setting. See what we've done there? Look, we've got Jill on, who's a community pharmacist by background, and we've linked it with a micro-discussion. Slick, you're thinking, I know. But more on that later. First, let me welcome my two fellow apothecaries. STC is in Bournemouth and Gimmo is in Cardiff. Welcome both. What have you been up to?
Evening, welcome all. Yeah, quiet week really. Like a lot of people, I've been redeployed during COVID, doing different jobs, and just found out this week that's coming to an end. So that's bittersweet really. It'd be good to get back to the normal job, but at the same time, does mark the end of an era, and I think that's what a lot of people are feeling at the moment, isn't it? Is glad that COVID looks like it's coming to an end, but actually a little bit nervous about what comes next. And something exciting happened in Cardiff today. I don't know what it's like where you guys are, but the sun came out, and I think that's the first day of complete sun that we've had all May. And of course now I'm being asked to mow the lawn, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's a blue job, isn't it, mowing the lawn?
That's a pay your children job.
I tell you who hasn't had a quiet day or a quiet week? Dominic Cummings.
Ooh, political.
We probably shouldn't go there, should we?
Yeah.
Although I did like Roy Lilly's talk about groupthink and how that's where everything's gone wrong for the government. But hey-ho.
I like the tweet that said, I wouldn't want to take Dominic Cummings on a rugby tour.
Yeah, absolutely. But I was going to say to you that actually you're very lucky to have me on tonight. I've had to get a special pass from my wife. And so I want you to try and guess why that might be. So for the listener, it's Thursday, the 27th of May, about 8 o'clock at night. And I'm going to give you a couple of clues, boys, and you've got to decide why you're lucky to have me on tonight. First one. Oh my God.
Is this some awful TV programme?
How you doing?
Friends reunion.
Is that Friends thing on tonight, is it?
Yes. The Friends reunion. So we've had to pause it, and as soon as we finished, I'll be off to watch the Friends reunion.
I can spoil it for you. I read about it in the paper earlier.
I didn't get to do my smelly cat, what are they feeding you? Or to finish with, we were on a break.
Like all of us, Joey has put on a bit of timber over the years, hasn't he?
Yes, hasn't he?
Jamie, get us out of here.
Yeah, well, I've had a busy week, actually, since last time. I've been in the Peak District for 4 days, enjoying some great company, some nice food, some poor food. Peak District, not renowned for its squid in batter, and some average golf as well. I was out for dinner in Bath last night, which was very nice as well, so we're getting very social. Steve mentioned his legal case that he was involved in last week, and so the legal case that I'm involved with, obviously classified, is ramping up as well. And then I did a team coaching session this morning, which was a face-to-face workshop in Cardiff for a private company. And it was just, as Skimmo said, lovely and sunny and nice to go and deliver a face-to-face session for the first time in a long time. I've got a question for the two apothecaries on the call. What's happened to our pets and pills feature? I'm sure that was a winner and it's gone quiet.
Yeah, it's gone quiet. I can give you a live update of the fact that I just had another 60 quid bill for some anti-inflammatories for Jasper, but I don't think I've got anything new to add other than that.
We did have somebody get in touch via Sam got in touch via Twitter, didn't she, giving us a heads up on one of her colleagues who's in the veterinary world with pharmacy technicians.
So we will have hopefully have someone from the veterinary world on soon. But Jamie, it's your feature. You need to do the work.
He doesn't even have any animals.
I haven't even got a dog. Okay, right, let's move on. My great pleasure to welcome Jill Cruikshank to the Oral Apothecary Podcast. Jill is a community pharmacist from Edinburgh, as I mentioned, and works with the community pharmacy development in NHS Lothian to support pharmacy teams delivering the Scottish Government contract. Jill is also a coach, trainer and speaker and has been running her own coaching and development consultancy, Leading to Solutions, for the last 13 years. She has qualifications in neuro-linguistic programming and cognitive behavioural therapy. Jill is currently writing a book inspired by the development work she has done for the Royal Pharmaceutical Society in Scotland with early year pharmacists. Hi Jill, and welcome to the Oral Apothecary. Lovely to have you on.
Oh, hi guys. Thank you for having me on. I have to say I was really looking forward to this today. However, in the last hour, I found the nerves started to creep in a little bit. So I've just brought along a little glass of my favourite Merlot to join me on this podcast. I hope that's appropriate. Cheers.
Quite right. Quite right.
Cheers. Yeah, we always do
Cheers.
this in the pub.
Nothing to be nervous about other than STC occasionally, but...
This is the first time I've been a podcast guest, so you could describe me as, yes, a podcast guest virgin.
Ah, excellent.
Yes, but a bit creepy STC. Anyway. What's on your agenda, Jill?
I suppose the biggest thing on my agenda just now, and I was kind of in a meeting, 2.5 hour meeting about it today, is this Pharmacy First service in Scotland. The Pharmacy First service is one of the key elements of the Scottish Government contract. I suppose the best way to describe it is kind of the shiny, bright version of minor ailment service. I'm not sure what you guys have in England and Wales, but we had the minor ailment service, and now the Pharmacy First service is basically similar, but it's more than just supply. It's about also advice and referral as well. And the service has moved from a service that is based on registration for payment to actually consultations. And that means a change in terms of the way pharmacies work, because what we're asking pharmacies to do now is record every interaction, every consultation they have. And we've got this lovely acronym in Scotland, and it's called the ART of Pharmacy First. So it's advice, referral, and treatment. The more advice, referral and treatment we do, there is obviously a cap on it, but obviously the more we are remunerated. But I think the important thing is, and this probably links to some of the stuff you guys talked with Jonathan Laird, I think back in series 1, episode 7, I think it was, and I think Jonathan talked about the great relationship that Community Pharmacy Scotland, our negotiating body, Harry and Matt, have with Scottish Government. And Pharmacy First now, the way it is, it allows us, in terms of our recording, to create, I suppose, a data set that actually provides evidence of the value of community pharmacists. You'll know there will be so many sort of trips to A&E that are prevented because of people going into the community pharmacy, or visits to primary care are reduced as well by visits to community pharmacy. So it's a real chance for us to record all of this, and it will inform future, I suppose, negotiation in terms of remuneration for community pharmacy. But the big thing, I suppose, is the challenge for community pharmacies and how they operate, because if you picture the scenario now, what the ideal picture would be, you walk in as a patient and you say, oh, I've got this rash on, the back of my arm. And the assistant says, yeah, no problem, we'll get you sorted. Just let me get your details. So it's about getting the patient details first before you go into any interaction. And that is the big challenge for many community pharmacies out there, to actually get that change of culture. So we're working on ways of supporting it. And the big thing just now is Pharmacy First birthday is on the 29th of July. So we've had 1 year of embedding it in, and year 2, the remuneration model changes slightly. So if you've been doing none of the art of pharmacy, you're going to really notice when it comes to remuneration in year 2. So it's a big cultural change, but it's exciting and it's great to be involved in.
I said when Jonathan was on that I've always looked on gladly at what you seem to be doing in Scotland around pharmacy. And just on acronyms, you win, hands down. ART, we've got GP, CP, CS, GP Community Pharmacy Consultation Service. It's not quite out there.
Not quite as catchy.
No, I love the art. And so we in England are trying to roll that out. It's been going in some places in piloting for quite a while. And my question really to you was, is it going down well, one, with patients, more public, and secondly, is it going down well with GP surgeries?
Firstly, in terms of patients, yes, I think it is going down well, because if you imagine the interaction, I just think, I was doing a locum on Monday, chatting away to a patient that came in. It was a kind of rash just on the inside of their arm. Did the consultation, got the details up as I was doing the consultation, and they said to them, yeah, that's no problem, I'll be able to give you something on the Pharmacy First service. So I kind of chatted to them and kind of did it as I was going along, and then they already had their purse out ready to pay, and I said, no, that's all available on the Pharmacy First service. You can visit any pharmacy with sort of minor conditions, and they can provide advice for you or prescribe for you if they can. So it's, with patients, I would say it's extremely positive. And I would say it's really positive with the GP surgeries as well, because the more we kind of sell it, the more we deliver it, and the more patients are aware of it, it's actually going to reduce footfall to the GP surgery, which is what it's all about.
So is it a sort of an advanced version of the minor ailment service, in that it's still focusing on common ailments and self-limited conditions, or is it extended into the world of chronic disease management?
Basically, it is for minor ailments, but what we do have within it, currently, we have 2 sort of PGDs due to patient group directions, one for impetigo, fusidin and fusidic acid, and also the other one being treating uncomplicated UTIs. And we can do that as part of Pharmacy First. And the good news is we've been waiting on this for a while, but just this week it has been announced from Scottish Government that they're releasing 2 new PGDs for across Scotland, and that is Fluclox for skin infections as well as acyclovir for shingles, and that will be added to the approved list of products that we can prescribe from. It's a national approved list, but those 4 drugs that I've just mentioned are all part of PGD. We can only prescribe in PGD.
Jill, can I just say I'm really glad that you said impetigo, because I thought you were going to say impotence, which is not really a minor ailment.
No, definitely impetigo.
Thank you for clarifying.
It'd be a very interesting PGD on impotence, I think.
It's interesting here, because when I briefly worked in 111, a lot of the 2 things I remember taking up a lot of time was Fluclox for skin conditions and uncomplicated UTIs. So I think Steve said, I guess one of the big advantages is that it's going to result in less appointments in GPs. Is that happening? Have you seen any significant numbers?
Well, I suppose you'd probably need to speak to maybe some of the sort of Harry or Matt to kind of give you some of the information at a local level. I do sort of the occasional locum now. I'm not sure of the impact of that, but I would like to think that is what is happening out there. And certainly, I think along with COVID, when, as you well know, community pharmacies were the only accessible healthcare professional, it allowed patients to see just what we could do. However, there's a reality check in there that it does increase workload in the community pharmacy. It does increase workload in terms of recording all the advice and referrals, but it's about changing the way we work in community pharmacy.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like we were discussing with Jonathan, weren't we, about Amazon, and we were saying that it's an opportunity, and if it moves to a remuneration model where you get paid for giving advice and referral and treatment, then I think most people are up for that. And it's great for patients, isn't it? It's about access.
Yeah, it is, absolutely. And the really good thing about Community Pharmacy Scotland, what they've done is they've actually created a kind of 3-year payment model. So this first year, basically, we've been getting paid just for basically doing whatever form of the service that we have been. But next year, year 2, that base payment that we've been getting reduces and the payment increases for activity. And by year 3, the base payment drops right down, and really we have to be delivering on the activity. So it's been a great process for introducing a change of culture and a way of working.
Jill, we met at the Scottish Practice Pharmacy and Prescribing Advisors Conference a couple of years ago, yeah?
Yes, we did.
That's one of my sort of highlights of the calendar year, that is, travelling up to Glasgow to be involved with the SPA conference. And just as Steve has said, with some of the government initiatives, the showcase at the SPA conference is really impressive with the work that goes on around Scotland. And because of the rurality, I think last time I remember seeing they've been using online digital solutions far quicker than the rest of us, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
But there really is some cracking stuff that goes on and presented at that conference. Can you tell us about one of the quotes you said to me as we in the run up to this is that you were doing less community pharmacy because you couldn't be the pharmacist you wanted to be. Tell me about the coaching side and the consultancy side.
I think COVID, like for many people, was a chance to reflect. What happened during COVID was obviously things kind of crashed in terms of the coaching and the training and the speaking, and all the focus went into pharmacy. And that was great because I wanted to be there and help and support. But actually, it's always been important to me to have a sense of balance, and that's why I've enjoyed or created this, and I think you refer to it, Jamie, as a portfolio career, doing different things, because I enjoy a sense of balance and a sense of flexibility and variety as well. And I suppose COVID just made me think, is this what I want to do? Do I want to actually have the same level of pharmacy, hands-on pharmacy and the business? So I made the decision to reduce my specific pharmacy hours and focus more on doing locums in lovely pharmacies that I really like and enjoy. So at the moment I'm doing a locum for a friend who I'm covering her INR clinic, and that is fantastic. It's a very forward-thinking independent pharmacy, and it also allows me enough time to spend with the community pharmacy development team looking at all the focuses that they have around the Scottish Government contract.
The Oral Apothecary is sponsored by Jamie Hayes Executive Coaching and OneLessPill.com.
Excellent. So, Jill, as you know, one of the other reasons for coming on the Oral Apothecary is to give us your choices, and I know every guest gives it a lot of thought. So what would you like to offer us as your desert island drug?
Well, I have to say, in coming up with my desert island drug, I was thinking about those powerful memories that you asked for, and I think any community pharmacy